It's time for another edition of High Five. How is everybody doing this week? I, as always, am your host, the one, the only, the second Irish Bandit. Today we are going to be looking at 5 shows that should be canceled. Now, most of the shows on this list I enjoy or enjoyed, but there comes a time when a show must bow out gracefully, and none of these shows have done that yet. But remember, this is only my opinion. If you guys disagree, I totally understand. And, if you disagree, leave your comments down below. And if you think of any other shows that should be canceled, let me know. And the first show we're going to be talking about, I love this show for the first 4 seasons. Season 5 was a complete bleh. And season 6, I didn't even watch. It tells you how interested I was in this show. But the first show we're going to be talking about on this list is Once Upon a Time. Now, I'll admit the premise of Once Upon a Time really intrigued me from the start. What would happen if you had fairy tales in the real world? I think they did it so well for the first few seasons, but then it just became formulaic. Like, they fell into a certain pattern. They kept repeating the same thing over and over. Oh, the whole town gets amnesia. Oh, we don't know what happened. We don't know who we are. Oh, what happened during this year? Why are you repeating? You could do so much new with this. Season 1 through 4 was really good, with season 3 being my favorite season. Season 4, the first half of season 4 was great with the Frozen story arc, but it kind of started sliding a little bit in the second half, and then season 5 was just a complete letdown. They had so much they could do with the Dark Swan saga, and that was just wasted. And then in the second half, you had a completely idiotic bad guy in Hades. Like, I'm not a big fan of the guy that got to play Hades, so... And then season 6, I just haven't watched. And then at the end of season 6, you had half the cast leave. You had Ginnifer Goodwin, Jennifer Morrison, Josh Dallas, Emily DeRivine, Rebecca Mader, Jared Gilmore, all left. That's half your cast leaving. Like, yeah, Robert Carlyle, Colin O'Donoghue, and Lena Perala is still around, but, without Emma, who was the heart and soul of the show, it just won't feel the same. It's going to feel like a completely different show and not the Once Upon a Time that I started watching in season 1. So, for that reason, I'm not going to continue watching it. And after that, I just feel, after losing half your cast, they should have just canceled the show altogether. Like, it lasted 6 seasons. It had a great run, but if it doesn't end after season 7, I'm going to be very surprised. Another long-running show that I feel should be canceled is now going into its 13th season. I absolutely love this show, but just like I said before, there comes a time when you should bow out gracefully. I am going to watch season 13 because I watched season 12 and I thought it was good, despite all the controversy surrounding it. But we'll get into that in a moment. The second show that I feel should be canceled is Criminal Minds. Now, I still very much love Criminal Minds. I think it's a great show, but at this point, all the stories that they've done have been done to death. You get the same thing every season. They got to start throwing something new in, like a continuing story. Like the way season 12 ended. I definitely got to watch the first episode of season 13 to see how that all resolved. But you've had so many controversies over the past 12 seasons. You had Lola Glaudini leave in the middle of season 2. You had Mandy Patinkin leave in the middle of season 3. You had the whole contract dispute between A.J. Cook and Paget Brewster in season 6, I think it was. Yeah, season 6. You nearly almost lost A.J. Cook and Kirsten Vangsness this past season. Shamar Moore left the show. At least he left the show while his character was still white hot. So and he does have SWAT coming out this year, which I'm definitely gonna watch the first episode of that and see how that is. Then you had that whole controversy surrounding Thomas Gibson. Apparently, he kicked one of the staff writers, Virgil Williams, in the leg because he didn't agree with him over something, and then he was suspended for 2 weeks, and then he was just outright fired. Like, come on, he already served his suspension, so why did you feel the need to fire him? Like, I heard he had other anger management problems in the past, but I really don't understand that. But either way, Criminal Minds is a great show, but I do think it should have ended about season 10 or season 11. But I am going to watch season 13. I'm hopeful for it. Like, I had no hope going into season 12 after the whole news with Thomas Gibson left, because I felt that Thomas Gibson's character of Aaron Hotchner was the heart and soul of the show, and they continue to go on relatively well without him. Like, I enjoyed it. It wasn't the same without him. Like, the chemistry was all messed up. But it was still pretty enjoyable to watch, and I loved the whole Reed storyline going out through the entire season. So, I'm going to look forward to season 13. I'm definitely going to watch the season premiere, but we'll see what happens from there. I've heard someone from the failed spin-off series Beyond Borders is now joining the group, and Damon Gupton, who played Steve Walker, is leaving. So again, that revolving door. You had Jean Triplehorn come in for 2 seasons and left. You had Jennifer Love Hewitt come in for 1 season and she left. So maybe they can get somebody to stick around. Adam Rodriguez has been doing really good. He did really good this last season when he made his debut. So I'm really going to look forward to season 13. I do think it should have ended, and I do think that season 13 should be the final season. I think if it goes on any longer, you're just going to be beating that dead horse more. So we'll see what happens from here. Next up on the list, our first of 2 animated series that I think should have been canceled a while back. This one has just gotten... if you like offensive humor, you're probably going to disagree with me on this one. I'm not so big into it. Like, yeah, okay, I'll laugh at a fart joke or two, but I really think that Family Guy should have ended a couple seasons ago. It can be said that if it wasn't for The Simpsons, there wouldn't be Family Guy. I don't know if that's a good thing or that's a bad thing, honestly. Like, when I first started watching Family Guy, I thought it was really funny, really creative. You had a great cast, including Seth MacFarlane, who does a lot of the voices for the show. He does Peter, the main character, Brian, Stewie, Quagmire, just a lot of voices. You have, what's her name? Who does the voice of Lois again? I want to say Sarah Silverman, but that's not it. Oh God, it's gonna kill me. I can see her face. Alex Borstein, that's it. Yes. Somebody said that out there. I know you did. You also had Chris. Oh God, now I forget his name. Damn it. He played Oz in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and Scott Evil. Oh God. Yeah, this is gonna kill me. Seth Green. Why was I thinking Chris? Because his character's name is Chris. That's why I was thinking. You had Lacey Chabert in the first few seasons as Meg, and now you have Mila Kunis as Meg. So some really great star power behind Family Guy. But as it went on, it just seemed to get more offensive and repulsive. Like, I'm not an easily offended person, to be quite honest with you. But if I'm finding the stuff that they're doing in Family Guy offensive and repulsive, you know you've done something wrong. When you get people who aren't easily offended, not totally offended, like not outraged offended, but like, oh guys, you shouldn't be doing that. And it just relies too heavily on the cutaway gags. You get quite a few of those in a single episode, and it just gets boring and monotonous. And I really think that Family Guy should have ended... Well, I don't think it should have been canceled like its first 2 times it was canceled. Definitely not. But I do think it should have ended about maybe 3 or 4 seasons ago. But there's Family Guy still going on, so I guess Seth MacFarlane is doing something right. But with Family Guy and American Dad, and then he had the Cleveland Show, and now he has this live-action space show, Star Trek parody thing, the Orville, I think it's called. How is he managing between all these projects? And he's making movies like he had Ted and Ted 2 and A Million Ways to Die in the West. If I were Seth MacFarlane, I would be freaking in the grave right now. I'd be so stressed out with everything. So I think Seth MacFarlane really needs to find one project, stick with it. I think that is why the quality of Family Guy is declining. So, yes, if you're going to do this new TV show, just cancel everything else and just focus on that. Please, Seth, for everybody's sanity. Continuing with the animation theme, this show, I absolutely love this show. Much like Criminal Minds, I love this show. I watched this past season and I was entertained by it. It wasn't as good as previous seasons, but it was okay, and I enjoyed it. But I do think that The Simpsons should really come to an end, as much as it pains me to say that. Growing up, I absolutely loved The Simpsons. It debuted in 1989. I was like 10 years old, so of course, my parents wouldn't let me watch it because everyone thought it would bring down the fall of society when there has been so much worse to come on TV since. If you ask me, Simpsons is a great family show. Unlike Family Guy or South Park, which are much, much worse. Like, I don't mean quality worse, but like in the content that in their content, it's much worse than The Simpsons. But Simpsons has been going on for 28 seasons now, which holds the current record for longest running TV series. And they've been signed on for 2 more seasons. 30 seasons they're going to have in total. Honestly and truthfully, I think The Simpsons should have ended sometime before The Simpsons movie came out. But I'm not in charge of things like that. Like I said, I watched this past season and I thought it was enjoyable. I thought it was a fun season, but really the magic is gone now. The first 10 seasons were just perfect. Everything after that, the quality just kind of slipped, but I do think this past season was very fun, very well done. I'm not quite keen on those tags at the end of the episodes now, because you never had them before. Why you need them now? That's just something that bugs me about it, but I can get past that. But I do think The Simpsons should have ended a while back, and I'm strongly thinking that season 30 will be the final season of The Simpsons. I could be wrong. They could, still be, beating that horse for money more, but hey, we'll see when season 30 rolls around. And the final show on the list is a show that I don't watch regularly. I'll watch it. It's one of those shows that I'll watch if someone else is watching, but it's not one that I will go out of my way to watch. I don't know whether it's because of the content or because of when it came about, but I definitely think this show should end sometime soon. I've heard that they are signed for 2 more seasons. If you like this show, great, but I'm not a huge fan of it. Like I said, I'll watch it if it's on, if someone else is watching it. And that show is Big Bang Theory. So like I said, I've never been a huge Big Bang Theory fan. I'll watch it if my friends are watching it, but that's about it. I won't go out of my way to actually watch a full season, honestly. To be honest and truthful with you, it's just something that doesn't appeal to me. It may have been back when it debuted in 2007, I think it was, because one of my favorite shows, which I'm going to talk about in 2 weeks, which I've already talked about in Irish Bandit Revolution, one of my favorite shows was just canceled after a cliffhanger, and then CBS comes out with all these new shows, and Big Bang Theory was among them, and I hated the premise of it when I first heard it. Swore to myself I was never going to watch The Big Bang Theory. Well, I should have said that I'm never going to watch The Big Bang Theory on my own, because I have friends who enjoy the show, and hey, it's like I said, if you enjoy it, that's fantastic. But myself, it's not one I'm big on. So it's lasted 10 seasons, which I think is probably about 2 seasons too long for a sitcom to last. Because you look at some of the other ones, like, Full House, that ended after 8 seasons. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air ended after 6 seasons. I think the longest running sitcom going was Cheers, and that lasted 10 seasons, I want to say. Frasier lasted about 10 seasons. Well, if you want to call it a sitcom, because it was half an hour, but you had MASH that lasted 16 seasons, I think. Yeah, I think so. It lasted. It's one of the longest lasting sitcoms there is on TV. So, but everything comes to an end eventually, and I think that The Big Bang Theory should have ended at least 2 seasons ago. But now it's going to go on 2 more seasons, and I don't think, honestly, with that there's no end in sight. Even though I know they're going to be recycling jokes, because that's what happens in a sitcom when it runs too long. You just start recycling jokes, and it's like, wait a minute, didn't they say this one in like season 2? Yeah. But yeah, I do think, I definitely strongly think that Big Bang Theory should have ended. And sad thing is, I think it's going to continue. Sorry to the Big Bang Theory fans out there. I didn't, well, I'm just going to end this right here and say thank you for watching. If you like this episode, leave me a thumbs up. And if you don't like what I said about Big Bang Theory, then leave me a thumbs down then. Leave me a comment down below on what you think, the other shows that you think should have been canceled. Don't forget to share this video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. If you see the bell icon, don't forget to click that. It's I don't know if it's showing because I had a friend say, hey, I'm not seeing that bell icon. In 2 weeks, you're going to see a change of venue because I'm going to be going out of town and I'm going to be house sitting for some friends of mine. So I'm going to be doing the episode in 2 weeks there. And in 2 weeks, we're going to be talking about 5 shows that really should have lasted longer than they did. So come back for that, and I will see you again for another high five.